What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel for the continuation on our 2011 salvage Ford Mustang Convertible project. Now I'll give you a little recap of where we're at, but first, if you're new to the channel and you love cars just as much as I do, then consider clicking that subscribe button so you can follow along with everything that goes on here on the channel. Now in the previous video, we walked around the car, we assessed the damage, and we talked about some of the repairs that needed to be made and some of the modifications that I had planned. And today the repairs begin by removing some of the old parts and fitting on some of our new parts. Now we've already talked about the repairs that need to be made and some of the modifications that I'm going to do to this car. So we're going to start right here on the front. We're going to start tearing this thing down and getting it ready for the new parts. With our front end pieces removed, you can see all the damage, and it's really not that bad. You can see the radiator support is obviously messed up. Now I've hammered this thing down just so it's not sticking up in the way, because I'm gonna have to leave that there for the time being just so I can get some measurements off. But you can see our bracket, and you can see the crash bar, and it's pretty straight. There's no issues with it. There's no issues with the frame rail horns or anything. I mean, even the headlight buckets look pretty good. It's just mostly this upper radiator support damage. And then now you can see where our radiator is busted. You can see that tab right there where the coolant was leaking out. Same thing over here on the driver's side. No big deal, just an easy radiator replacement. And here are all our damaged parts. You can see our headlight is scratched up. We've got a big crack going down the back side. We've got a tab broke off the bottom, tab broke off the top. No good. And like I said, these are kind of cheesy aftermarket headlights. I don't really care too much for them. And last but not least, the old hood. Now I really like the design of this hood. I like how it has like a little scoop towards the back, and our new hood definitely doesn't have that, and it doesn't, in my opinion, doesn't look as good. But it is what it is. And you can see where it's crumpled in the crumple zone, and you can see it's aluminum. This thing's really light. This thing is not repairable. So with the front end tore down, we can start fitting up some pieces. I'm going to start with the hood and get that on, and we're going to get the bumper cover on. Now it's not going to fit great because we don't have the new radiator support in, but we can at least see what we're working with. We've got the hood on, and the fitment is pretty decent. We do need to do a little bit of work on that gap there. We've got a hood hinge in the back that needs a little bit of work, and we've got a little gap over here in the front, as you can see. Now that's probably from where the radiator support has been pushed down and back, and that's just a little thing that we can work out later on. So let's get the front bumper cover on and see how that looks. And now we have the bumper cover just sitting up on there. Now we can't really look at fitment up here at the hood because there's a bracket that goes back here, and that's just not going to work in there because the radiator support is damaged. We'll just have to wait till we get the new radiator support in, but everything seems to line up on the sides pretty good. Like I said, the hood lines up pretty good. And one thing I'm really happy about is the paint match. The paint actually matches really good, which is kind of surprising, seeing that These come off 2 different cars, 2 different years. So that saves a lot of time and effort right there. So I don't have to really, so to say, paint anything here. Just basically bolt it on. We got our battery charged up. Let's see how well this thing runs. Fires right up. So everything seems fine. We're showing 116,000 miles. All the gauges look good. It looks like we do have a check engine light. We'll just have to dig into that a little later. But I want to check out this top and see if it opens. Let me see if I can unlatch it here and figure it out. See if she works. Oh, looks like all the windows dropped. And there she goes. Oh, sweet. So let's go ahead and put our top back up. And she's purring right along. 3.7 liter V6. And this thing I believe has around 300 horsepower. And it'll be plenty for this car. You're just, like I said, going to cruise this thing around and enjoy it with the top down. So it's been a few days and we're back out here working on the Mustang once again. And as you can see, I have everything mocked up and everything seems to line up pretty good. Now these are the original headlights and we've ordered brand new headlights. But you can see they fit in there well. Now the task at hand today is we need to start working on that radiator support, and to get that out of there we're going to need to disassemble the entire front end. We're going to need to take the fenders off, which is not really that bad, but the problem with taking fenders off on these cars is you have to at least remove the front rocker section here and get that loose. Now sometimes that can be a problem because these things are held on by clips all the way down, and when you pull them you usually end up breaking them, and then guess what, you end up going to the dealership and paying good money for a new set of clips. Now that just might have to be something we have to do. So let's jump in and start getting this thing tore down. Well, that wasn't too hard getting those fenders off. The only problem that I really had was over here where we had some seam sealer that was attached to the lower fender, but with the little heat that came right off. So with the fenders off, you can see the front end of the car, you can see all the structure where the radiator support is attached. And if you look over here on the driver's side, you can see everything's nice and straight. Everything is right where it needs to be, so we don't have any kind of wrinkles or any kind of damage over in here. It seems like most of it starts over here in the middle. But over here on the passenger side, you can see we got a little kink there, which is not that bad. It's from where this panel, where my hand's at, it's turned down and kind of cocked in, which is to be expected because of all the damage in the middle. But everything else behind here seems to be pretty straight, like our brace back here. And obviously this brace right here is going to need some attention. Now I think I'm going to end up having to reuse this one because this part is actually on back order. I can't get it right now for some reason. So we can straighten that out. That shouldn't be too big of a deal. But before I go cutting this radiator support out, I need to take a few measurements. And since this side seems to be pretty good, I'm going to do a couple measurements here from like the headlight bucket and the fender to here, just so we can make sure we get everything in the right spot before we start cutting all this stuff out. So to take these measurements, I have a longer bolt in the front fender hole. And you can see I'm going to measure from right here, from the front of the bolt to the front of this bolt hole here. That'll give us a nice good measurement, so everything will go right back into the factory spot. To remove the radiator support, you're going to need to cut all the spot welds, and to do that We're going to take a center punch like you see here, center punch all those spot welds, and then we're going to use a spot weld cutter like you see mounted here on my drill. Now you've probably seen me use this before, and this works really good and really fast. Now, there's not a lot of spot welds holding this thing on. There's a few right here. We have a few across here, a few right here at the brackets on both sides, and that's pretty much it. So it should be pretty straightforward. Now here is our replacement radiator support, and as you can see, it comes with the headlight buckets and everything. It seems like it's going to be pretty easy to put in. So let's start cutting and getting this old radiator support out of there. And there we have it. The radiator support is completely out of the car, and you can see it's spot welded in several different spots there and there. Now our bracket here seems to be pretty good, but you can see I've already removed our passenger side bracket. And here it is, it's all mangled up. I really try to, replace something like this, but with it being on back order and I just cannot get a hold of one of these, I'm gonna have to try to straighten this out the best I can. Hope for the best, hope that maybe an aftermarket one will come in stock and we can put that thing in for the final fitment. But for now, I'm gonna straighten this out just so I can get my radiator support in and just see how well everything lines up and fits. With all those damaged parts out of the way, we can test fit our new radiator support, which is where we'll start next time. So until then, I'd like to say thank you for watching. Be sure to check out all my videos on all my other projects. And if you're not subscribed, then consider clicking the subscribe button, click the bell so you'll get the notifications. And you can also follow me on Facebook and Instagram.